Good morning. I'm Fairey, the President and CEO of Wayfinders, and I'm really excited to be here with you all today. It's unfortunately strange to be here with you all today, given the times that we've all been living through. Normally we do our ribbon cutting before the building's even occupied. Normally we have many speakers and go on and repeat each other's hurrahs and hosannas for the project. We're going to do a little something different today, given the certain circumstances we're continuing to live through with COVID, and also given that the building's already occupied, thankfully, and providing critical affordable housing and programs and services to people in the community. So we're going to talk with you a little bit today about the work we do, the work we're doing with our partners. You're going to hear from some of the leaders of our community. You're going to hear from a resident as well. And then we'll go cut the ribbon. So that's the plan. How's that sound? So, as I mentioned, we are here to celebrate many things. Yes, there are 38 new affordable housing units. There's wonderfully activated programs on site. There's a property management office, and I'll talk a little bit about those in just a moment. But we are also here to celebrate the reinvestment and revitalization of the heart of the Churchill neighborhood, which we're in right now. As you see by the boards here, not so long ago, the buildings behind us symbolized something different for this neighborhood. And we feel like they now symbolize the future, and the investment and the opportunity and the potential and the progress of not only this neighborhood, but the great city of Holyoke. And we feel like this also is a celebration of the future represented by the children, young people, and families who live and reside at Library Commons and in the surrounding neighborhood. We hope that Library Commons provides the stability and security they need to reach for and achieve their dreams and aspirations. And for Wayfinders, we are here both to celebrate with you and affirm our commitment as a community member to be an ongoing active participant in the life of the neighborhood, working to both rebuild and sustain quality affordable housing options, while also linking arms with our neighbors to develop and work toward a shared vision for this community. As some of you may know, Wayfinders has worked in the Holyoke community for many years with our programs and services and real estate capabilities. Over the last decade, we have been at the table with our community members informing and furthering the city's urban renewal plan and building on the strength of public investments like the library just a block away from here and the Intermodal Center just a couple blocks in the other direction. To that end, guided by that vision, we continue to work to bring the urban renewal plan's goals and objectives to reality. The completed buildings across the street are what we call Library Commons 1. The project's vision and qualities go well beyond the 38 affordable units. It's about reclaiming these buildings from blight and illicit activities to add to the strength and quality of the neighborhood. It's also about creating the space to implement the Care Center's Roque House program, a path-breaking initiative that marries housing with educational and arts programs to help young parents find and proceed down their path to economic self-sufficiency and success. To that end, I'd like to acknowledge Ann Teschner, Executive Director of the Care Center, who's here. And our team for their partnership and commitment to this project. Like all these projects, there are many people who help spawn them and bring them to fruition. So thank you, Ann, for your partnership. Speaking again of the future, I also want to call your attention to the very ground we are on right now. It's unusual to have a ribbon cutting in a vacant lot, I think. Usually people want to be across at the nice, and we'll get over there. But the reason we're here, as I mentioned, is the vacant building across the street there at the corner of Essex and Chestnut, the remaining vacant lots in this community, these two here, the ones on the opposite side of the renovated and improved buildings, the ones on Elm Street there, will all be part of Library Commons Phase 2. And we are very hopeful that we will receive funding in the next allocation to move those projects forward. If we don't, we'll go to the next round. But we're committed, again, it's part of our commitment to this neighborhood and to bringing it back and bringing it forward to the future that I think we all want for our families and community. When completed, Library Commons 2 will knit back together the physical fabric of this neighborhood that has been frayed for far too long. Finally, I should also note that the Library Commons projects, when coupled with the recently completed renovation of the Carlos Vega apartments just on Walnut and Appleton up the street, just 2 blocks, the combined amount of investment that we'll be bringing to the neighborhood once we finish Library Commons 2 is roughly around $40 million and 97 units of affordable housing, and so much more than that, as I've already described in terms of the program. We hope that these investments, along with others we are considering in the city of Holyoke, will build the momentum for furthering the social and economic progress for the residents of this community and the city of Holyoke overall. I'd like to acknowledge some of our partners in actually getting this project built, the actual physical construction and the closing and the development and the design of the building. Dietz and Company Architects, we're architects. The Berkshire Design Group, Epsilon Associates. I want to acknowledge Joan Lupa and the whole NL construction team. Nothing like doing a development project during a pandemic, is there? And so I want to really thank you all for your partnership and continued work and overcoming lots of different obstacles and challenges along the way. None of these things are smooth. This one wasn't either, but NL was with us all the way. I want to also acknowledge our attorneys, Resnick Borgard, Wheaton Driscoll, our accountants, even Daniel Dennis and Company. It takes a village. It takes a village. I want to also acknowledge our funders, DHCD, who could not be with us today, Department of Housing and Community Development. Roger Herzog, who's Executive Director of CDAC, is here with us. Thank CDAC for their long-term commitment to this project. CDAC is often the first money in, and so without them, we wouldn't be standing here today. I also want to acknowledge the Massachusetts Housing Partnership and Clark Ziegler, again, a long-term partner and funder and supporter of projects like this with Wayfinders.
He's right here.
That's right. Dorothy is here as well, from Capital, who helps assemble the financing and equity for parts of this project. Emmett, who is, I don't know, is anybody from Emmett here?
Yes.
All right, Emmett. Thank you for your support. Without them, the key equity components of the loan amount and tax credit would not come to fruition. The city of Holyoke, of course, a great partner to us in both thought and resources to make this happen. Mass Housing as well. I also want to acknowledge our elected officials and representatives who are here. Representative Duffy, Senator Velis, Acting Mayor Murphy, and I believe, is Karim here from Congressman Neal's office? I know he sends his regrets, but would have liked to have been here as well. So internally at Wayfinders, I've got to acknowledge our staff as well. Our terrific real estate team did a terrific job of this project, kind of riding the waves over time, funding, project changes, needs for resources. So I've got to call them out for their leadership, their persistence, their resilience over time. And that's not only in building the project, but then getting it leased up and occupied and operating, which it is today. I'd like to also acknowledge all the other members in there. Again, it takes many players, big and small, contributions along the way to get this project developed and standing and operating. And so I want to fill up all the other Wayfinder staff who contributed to that as well. I should also note that we have relocated our Holyoke Housing Center that was previously on High Street to Library Commons as well. So and through that housing center, we are providing supports, including rental assistance, emergency financial assistance, homeownership, housing consumer and education center, and our community building engagement team. So fully activating that space is an important part of what we see about contributing to the future of the community, not just for people who live here, but everybody in the community can avail themselves of those resources and opportunities to our programs. I also want to acknowledge the Wayfinders board members who are here. Thank you for your leadership, support, and expertise. So with that, I'm going to mostly be quiet from here on out. I'm going to ask some other people to talk. And I'm going to ask first Rep Duffy to come up and give us some words of encouragement.
Thank you. Yeah, I can do it. More than happy to encourage and support this kind of development. And it really does, it takes a village. Thank you. Thank you. It really does take a village, so thank you so much for all the partners who are here, my colleagues in state government, the Care Center, and the amazing Ann Teschner, other community groups. And I also, there's one other person I want to acknowledge who I saw earlier. Years ago, I was in a community meeting over in that library talking about this project, getting the neighborhood informed and invested and excited, and it was partially run by my good friend, Ward 1 City Councilor Gladys Lebron-Martinez. So, as your state representative and also as a former member of the Holyoke Redevelopment Authority, I've been saying this a lot the last few weeks, and it feels really good. We've gone through years of planning. This development reflects what the people of Holyoke wanted, what they told us that we wanted in the Center City Vision Plan that led to the Redevelopment Authority's Urban Renewal Plan. We're continuing with these kinds of developments all over the city. This is an overall plan, and a city like Holyoke needs and deserves this sort of care and investment. So thank you all so much. I'm looking forward to phase 2, and I'm turning it over to, or turning it back to you. Yes, you do your. So thank you all.
Thank you, Rep Duffy, for giving us that context. All these things happen with so many different players and actors over time. And so one of the other important players and actors on the state level for this community and many communities here in our region is Senator John Velis. Senator Velis, would you please go ahead?
Good morning, everybody. What an honor to be here. I have to say something. So I've been a state senator now I've had the honor of representing this community now for a little more than a year. And obviously it's been COVID. So as my colleagues affectionately referred to me as the COVID senator. but just in that time period, I've come to really love and appreciate the spirit of this community, and that's exemplified by what we see here today. As the rep indicated, I think it's the past 3 weeks, we have had events in Holyoke celebrating and honoring and talking about affordable housing, home ownership. That's just a really cool thing. And there's something special going on here, and I'm just really happy to be a part of it. I mean, I look at those pictures right there from 2017 to 2021. I mean, that's absolutely remarkable. I'd be remiss, Keith, if I didn't talk about, so prior to this, I was the state representative. I was one of only 7 state representatives who represent one city or town. For me, it was the city of Westfield. So I think what happens in those instances for those 7 of us who have one city or town, in some instances, we kind of end up viewing the world through those lenses, if you will. And now I represent 11 cities and towns with so much vast different needs. And a big part of educating me on those needs, particularly as it relates to housing, has been you. So thank you so much for your hard work, for your advocacy. Every time I get off a Zoom with you, and I hopefully those, and these are going to be in-person meetings now, I just think to myself how fortunate we are to have you at the helm, and of course everybody with your team. I guess I'll just finish with this. We show up at events as elected officials, And we get to be here in many instances for the cool parts, the ribbon cuttings, like you said, we echo each other's hoorahs and all that good stuff. And it's just a really special part of the job. We love what we do in Boston, but when we get to come back into the communities and say thank you, because at the end of the day, your success is our success and vice versa. So it's just an honor to be here, and thank you for welcoming me so much as the new state senator for Holyoke. It's an absolute honor.
Thank you, Senator Velis. I'd like to take a different tack, a different kind of speaker for you here that I think will bring home the real value, the potential, and the future of this community. Mr. Orlando Rivera is a recent resident of Library Commons, one of the first residents to move in here. And he's graciously agreed to share some thoughts with you about where he's coming from and how he thinks about the community and living here now. Mr. Rivera, thank you for being here and being on this.
Hello, it's been a long time since I talked in front of a whole bunch of people. I think I was 7 years old in church. We had to say the verse, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right and what pleases those gods of his name, and no on earth, and a lot of other stuff. But good times. It's been a 3-year journey for me. Like a lot of things, COVID put a lot of pause to a lot of success, a lot of progress. I had to go to 2 different shelter programs, CHD first, then New England Farm Workers. My first year here, I had a teenager, and that's not easy. You can't put down your 6-year-old and your 5-year-old to chase your teenager who wants to run the streets and carry on. And it was really, really hard. And COVID hit my teenager very hard. His mother was sick, and she lived in another state. He made it to the border of Connecticut. He turned him back around. He tried to run off over there, he couldn't. And teenager, you can't, there's really nothing you can do but give them advice and hope they listen to you. So for 3 years, I've endured, witnessed, seen a lot of things. I've been locked in the house all day. We've done every fort you can imagine, played thousands of Monopoly games, ladders, and I could tell you about every episode of Big Bang Theory, Big Bang Theory, and Friends, and it was like, after a while your eyes hurt. I turned off the news because I didn't want to hear it, because I didn't want it would depress me more, it would make me more anxious, and then living in shelters and the things going around the shelters. But you don't have no power over it, you can't do nothing about it. And after getting denied so many times, and a lot of times I even felt like my gender was the reason why, because I was a male. And they automatically assume you have a mother in the closet somewhere that's gonna come and help you take care of these kids, but no, there are fathers out there that are actually doing something else. I appreciate the applause, but I don't praise myself for it, because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. So, Wayfinders, after getting denied so many times, finally gave me a chance. And they gave me low-income housing. And how can I say this? I was so overwhelmed with gratitude because I didn't expect that. I'm like the only building around here with an elevator. Nobody got it. There's no building here with an elevator. It was like, so when my kids went in there, they thinking I won the lotto, and I'm like, yeah, the lotto. It's like, that's next. We'll play this ticket. And so when the kids seen this apartment, and it was huge, and now I could separate my kids. They're not on top of each other because they fight all day. They're 2 Scorpios. Their birthdays are literally November 9, November 10. So you could imagine, these kids love fight each other all day, and during COVID, it was like UFC in my house. And now I get to put them in their own little box. Stay in there, my room is in the middle, so they can't even cross each other's rooms. Another thing I'm very grateful for is the safety. And I witnessed things that I'm rather not speak of right now, but that were crazy. And I lived in the shelter on Sergeant Street where the young man was killed. And I lived in the other shelter where another man was shot that was a single father. And that gave me PTSD, and I was overwhelming my teenager, and I wouldn't allow him to associate with anyone. He couldn't talk to nobody, he wasn't hanging out with nobody, because my biggest fear was that something would happen to him. But the building I live in now has cameras outside, inside, everywhere. It would, for a person who's doing illicit activities or whatever, would think about it twice to come here. Because it's safe, the lighting, everything. It's like, it's brand new, you know? So the safety, and the other experience of my shelter experience was, they placed me in an apartment with another man and his child, 12 years old, autistic. And I have a little girl. And I fought it tooth and nail. For like 2 weeks straight, we had to endure this and live with this other man. And I was like, I have a little girl. You don't put two separate sexes in the same apartment to share, because some apartments in the shelter you have to share with another parent. And it's like that if you have one child. But I have a little girl. And that was my struggle. And finally, they gave me my own place. But having to clean up every time we use the bathroom, this was before COVID, and now my apartment has 2 bathrooms. So my daughter has her own bathroom. And she got to worry about her brother making a mess. Still learning how to aim, you know? But my kids go to here in Lawrence, and my way of showing my appreciation to the community, to Wayfinders, I plan on working with them as much as I can. Zoraida, McPhee, I don't remember a lot of names, but I did meet Linda. And Linda really sparkled me because there's something that I do on my own. I didn't join Vanguard, I didn't join Tapestry or anything. And any resident could do this. They can go to Tapestry, and they gave me my own red box. That's what I call Linda, my red box sister. Where is she? I don't see her. There she goes. So I seen her back there doing her part, you know, and my mother always used to tell me something about, that was in the Bible. It says, the man that prays in front of everyone so that everyone can see him, his prayers are void. But the man that prays quietly when nobody's looking, inside the closet, not looking to be seen, and wholeheartedly, those prayers are the ones he answers. And she was back there while we was all here doing her part. And that's what I do. I do that for my kids in the Lawrence School. So I took it upon myself to just do it myself, and I got my little red box kit in there with my clippers and my spray and everything, and also the property that you guys are planning on building more on. Because we can't control what's going on the outside, but I'm grateful. So I'm gonna do my part the best I can, and yeah, Wayfinders, look at the name is awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Thank you for all that you continue to do for not only your family, but now for the community. And thank you for sharing your journey with us. And we are here to support you and your journey forward. I'd now like to ask Mayor Murphy to follow that.
I got you on my phone.
Well, I followed tougher acts, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to follow this one too well. I do want to say, and I don't see Senator Velis, maybe he left. John, I just want to let you know, they had me speak after you so the mic would work for you. The last 2 times we've been at an event, I spoke, the microphone worked well. Senator Velis came to the microphone and it died. So, they set this program up deliberately for you to have a microphone. Mr. Rivera, first of all, thank you for, number one, caring for your family. And I know you said you can only give so much to your kids in terms of advice, but one thing without any doubt in my mind you gave them, you don't have to say a word, is love. And that makes a difference. So I will say this, God bless you. I will also say thank you for starting to volunteer at Lawrence School. And I want to encourage everyone here, everyone living in these apartments, everyone eventually coming into this area. There's a group called Churchill Community Alliance, which works through Wayfinder, that is in dire need of more and more people being involved. Councilor Lebron-Martinez can speak to that. The more we get together, yes, we want to be internally in each building safe, but we want to be in the entire Churchill City, Holyoke community, all of us safe, inside and outside. And if we work together, if we all take a vested interest, if we all do what we're capable of doing, which is what you're doing, we will make a difference. And we will end up with streets being safer, apartments being safer, kids going to school and feeling like this is something I want to do every day and I love going there. So can we do anything better than that? Again, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your inspiring talk. Last thing I want to say before I issue a proclamation, one of the things that I see here and one of the things I've heard it before as a council, but in my last 6.5 weeks, or 6.5 months, I guess it's more than 6.5 weeks, the gray hair has gotten grayer. I've only lost a little, but I've lost some. But in those 6.5 months, when I hear people talking to me, the one thing that this demonstrates is that the city wants to invest in every single neighborhood. We do not want to have any neighborhood neglected. I do not want any person in any of our neighborhoods to feel like the city does not care. We care. We cannot do it perfectly. We will make mistakes. We will do things that don't quite pan out. But then we see these kind of things. We see things that was going to happen down in South Holyoke Homes, and I think my microphone's dying, Senator. Those are the kind of things that make a difference. And I just want all the citizens in Holyoke to know that the people that serve you, both representatives in the state legislature, people in the city council, school committee, and all of the department heads, they care about you. They may not always agree, but they care about you. And as long as we communicate and respectfully share our ideas, we'll come up with solutions like this. So lastly, I want to specifically thank Wayfinders. So this is a mayoral congratulations. And one thing I've been doing because I really want to promote tourism in Holyoke. And we are the home of the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. And if you haven't been there, it's right down there off of Dwight Street, Heritage Park. Please think about going there. We funded it so that it's now open every day of the week. It used to be very limited. We just had the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Wisteria Hearst is having events coming up. I had a press conference a little while ago about Wisteria Hearst Gardens, and the next day 10 new people who had never been to Wisteria Hearst showed up. Let's spread the word. We got a lot of things, and I could talk about a lot more. But spread the word. People got to know about it, and they got to recognize it. So mayoral congratulations from the city of Holyoke. On behalf of the citizens of Holyoke, I, Acting Mayor Terrence Murphy, do hereby congratulate Wayfinders. On their ribbon cutting, you're good, you're good. Go ahead, give it. On their ribbon cutting from the Library Commons, we are grateful that you are providing affordable housing and revitalizing the neighborhood, as well as access to employment, education, and other supportive services. It is an honor to be part of this celebration. The witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and have caused the official seal of the city of Holyoke to be affixed this 22nd day of October 2021, Terrence Murphy, Acting Mayor.
Thanks for your leadership, your support, and your partnership. As I said, we're not going to go on and on here. We actually just have one more. And this is a person whose name has already been mentioned here, whose picture's actually up here too, isn't it? Who's been a community leader, Ward 1 City Councilor, a member of the Community Alliance that Mayor Murphy just talked about, who's been here in the community for many years, leading, partnering, supporting, a real change agent here, Councilor Gladys Lebron-Martinez.
Very small. Okay. Let me take my mask off. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Wayfinder, for the opportunity. But first and foremost, I'd like to let you know that before I became the city council, I was a school committee. But just to let you know why it's so important, why we continue to fight in this neighborhood. My house is right in back of that next the building that is going to then be the next developing site. When I first decided to run for office, that I switched from city council, the first, as I'm doing my door knocking in the neighborhood, people kept pointing, what are you gonna do about that? And I said, wow, I didn't know I was gonna be responsible for the development of this. But with that said, I just wanna let you know that, you know, what you see in these neighborhoods that get neglected, when you come around and you knock on doors, people do not believe that these things can happen, right? So the point of why I'm saying is that we gotta continue, and I wanna thank every investor that is here. Let this not be the last place you wanna look at. We have many lots that need this kind of work. We have many buildings that, I wanna say, we have slum landlords that we need to take over and take back to a better living condition for some of these families. Mr. Rivera, you really touched me in a way. I've been there, I know your struggle. So, you know, this is the reason we gotta continue to fight, because there's gonna be people who will ignore us, and we cannot let that happen. With that said, I also wanna say that the people couldn't believe that this is gonna happen, because people want instant gratification. They vote for you and they expect things to take place immediately. But I need to acknowledge people here. Linda Pratt is here, who continues to give back. Someone who's volunteered, she's on the other corner, thank you. Always giving back, making sure our people get involved, because we can't do this. This is gonna take the village that it's happening here now. The other person that I wanna acknowledge, because sometimes we get forgotten, I was a community organizer before I came where I'm, you know, to the title that I have today. But I've always was a community organizer, and I'm still, I consider myself an activist. I'm not that use a verse today that it is who I am. I don't like to be acknowledged, I'd be forgotten, to be recognized in moments, and I don't need that, because you know what, I'm doing a lot of work behind the doors, and that's the work that I need to do, and I know that. Thank you. So with that said, I want to recognize Mel Antuna, who reached out to me and met with me. People think this started 2017. This started 9 years ago, my people. This started 9 years ago, when the meetings and conversations began with our neighborhood. I also want to acknowledge Ana Cruz, who probably, I don't know, oh, she's back there, always humble, doing the work that requires in these neighborhoods. These neighborhoods need people to come here and see what is happening, to consider and invest, to really believe and understand the kind of people that are living here. You have working, you have middle class people, you have the poorest of the poorest in these neighborhoods, but people who are expected to live in the best conditions that they can. Just like we may have, people may wonder, I'm on Ward 1, people have negative about that, but you know what? You go in that home, there's love, there's peace, right? I can put my head in the bed. There's other people who are in shelters who probably cannot do that. So I want you all to walk away from saying, let's go back to Holyoke and invest. Let's support Wayfinder. Let's support other developers that are coming here. After this, I'm going to another event today with TCD Development. So I welcome any developer that wants to come here. I'm ending my journey because I decided not to run for office. It'll be the end of December, but that doesn't mean I'll stop doing the work behind the scene. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and I love that investment frame. And I love it because it's really about when you invest in something, you expect a return on that, right? And so some people think about that from a monetary return. I think about that from a communal place. What is the return that we are going to get from this investment? We get to provide quality housing to Mr. Rivera and his family, and that provides them with a stable foundation to think about the future, to think about tomorrow in a different way, in a positive way. And then to contribute back the way he's doing that. That investment, so many returns from that investment over time. And we have a unique opportunity right now in our city, in our region, in the Commonwealth. There are new resources that have been made available to the state. Hopefully some of those resources will come to affordable housing and community development projects like this. I know State Rep Duffy and I have talked about this, and Senator Velis as well, and they're very supportive of that. But there is a new opportunity here to continue to invest in the future of our community, to continue to invest in our people. And I hope you will join us in supporting that. I hope you will join us in thinking about what the ideas and opportunities are for future investment. Because in the end, it's not about bricks and mortar, it's about the people. And when we're investing in the bricks and mortar, it's about the people, and it's about their future. And that's what we're about at Wayfinders. We hope that's what you are about as our partners. And so with that, I'm going to end the speaking today, and we're going to do some ribbon cutting now. And so we're going to go over across the street. We're actually going to go across the street now. Get out the phase 2, go to phase 1. Right in front of 193 Chestnut. We welcome people to come up and get behind the ribbon with us and cut it.
All right. Big moment, guys. Here, I'll give you guys the.
You should have a sharp.
A little bit lower, a little bit lower.
Who's the official?
Thank you.